Welcome to the Twisted Tentacle Tavern. I'm your innkeeper, Vase Odin. We are continuing our Battlesmith guide, and today we're going to be talking about infusions. Stay tuned. In this video, we're going to be breaking down the infusions that you have access to at level 2. So let's not waste any time and get started. So one of the options that you get is the Enhanced Arcane Focus. If you have a full spellcaster in the party, or if you're doing a lot of spell casting yourself, especially spell attacks, then this can greatly increase the power level at level 2. Getting a +1 to spell attack rolls is actually pretty big, especially at this level where there's no other way really to get this kind of bonus, and the chances are very slim to none that your DM is going to be giving you a arcane focus that will enhance your spell attack bonus. So this is really one of the only ways to get that, especially this early in the game. So this is a really strong item. If it's something that your party can use, I would highly recommend you go with this. Oh yeah, and it also lets you ignore half cover when you're using a spell attack with a ranged spell. I mean, that's already, it was an awesome item, and this just makes it even better. So this is one I would highly suggest that you consider infusing. The Enhanced Defense, this is another solid option for level 2. Generally, you're not going to find any way to boost your armor class beyond non-magical armor at such a low level. So getting a magical armor this early on in the game, again, pretty awesome. Something that your DM might hate you for, but it's really going to boost your survivability or another party member's survivability. So another good choice here. Enhanced Weapon. Again, at level 2, I would put money on the assumption that no one in your party has a magical weapon. This infusion is going to grant your party a really strong boost to damage output at low levels. And even though you probably won't be facing things that resist non-magical weapons so early in the game, it's still pretty awesome. And if you do encounter something that's got magic resistance, this is going to be a game changer. Repeating Shot. This one's just like Enhanced Weapon, but for crossbows and firearms. Even better, though, because you get unlimited ammo, and you get to ignore the loading property on the weapon. So these are just almost broken infusions. The first 3 are just fantastic. So those are ones I would absolutely highly consider getting, because it can greatly improve your party's overall effectiveness in combat. The Returning Weapon, almost as strong as Repeating Shot, and just as useful if you have a party member who uses thrown weapons. I would say Returning Shot or Repeating Shot is probably a better option, but if you don't have anyone with a crossbow and they use thrown weapons, then Returning Weapon is still a pretty solid choice. So in addition to the infusions we just talked about, you also get to replicate a magic item if you want as one of your infusions. And there are 10 items total that you can pick from. So let's go over each one and see if they're going to be any good or not. The Alchemy Jug. This one is interesting, and it does have many uses. You basically can have unlimited food supply and can even make poison or acid if you needed. So overall, I would say this one's pretty useful. Armblade. If you have a Warforged in the group, this one could be pretty handy. If you are a Warforged, this is one that I would definitely pick. As an Artificer, you can use an infused item as your spellcasting focus. So this is a great way to use a weapon and shield and still be able to cast spells. Keep in mind that this is going to take up an attunement slot, but at second level, I don't think that you're going to be too worried about that. Bag of Holding. This is a universally loved item. Super useful, especially if you're playing with encumbrance rules. If you're not playing with encumbrance, I would say it's probably not quite as useful, but you can still find some use out of it. So Bag of Holding you can never go wrong with. Cap of Water Breathing. This one is kind of situational. I would only do this if I knew that we're going to be going into a water-filled location. Overall, how many campaigns did you actually have to go underwater repeatedly? I think unless you're on a seafaring type of campaign, in which case this would be fantastic, I would probably maybe put this aside and not infuse anything with this one. Goggles of Night. It's cool. If you don't have dark vision, they're pretty fantastic, actually. If you have dark vision, it extends the range by 60 feet, which is not bad. I'd probably skip it if I had dark vision, unless I was playing a campaign where I knew that we're going to be in darkness quite a lot, or if someone in your party really needs to have dark vision, then this is a great way to give them that little boost without wasting a spell slot with casting the spell dark vision, because that's a second level spell, I believe. So using your goggles at night, I think it's a better trade-off. The prosthetic limb, this one feels like it's just a flavor thing, but just like the arm blade, if you're not a Warforged, it's a great way to be able to cast spells and still use a weapon and a shield. If your arm gets chopped off somehow, you can use a prosthetic limb. And now this is your spellcasting focus. It is part of you. So you can be holding things with your arms and still be using your spellcasting focus, your arm. So one thing that you should note about this is that it does take up an attunement slot like the arm blade. So keep that in mind. Right now you have 3 attunement slots that will improve later on and later in higher levels, but as of right now, definitely want to keep an eye on that and keep that in check. The rope of climbing, this is a great item and it's useful in many situations. There's so many cool things that you can do with this other than climbing if you're creative, including combat utility. For example, you can tell the rope to fasten itself to an enemy's belt or whatever item of clothing that the character has, and you've essentially used a bonus action to tether the enemy to you or to your strong fighter, preventing them from moving away or attacking the softer members of your party or moving towards the softer members of your party. So it's actually pretty useful. If you're fighting in an area where there's a fall or a pit, you can just bonus action command this rope to tie itself to you and tether itself to something else, and now you're pretty safe. Pretty awesome item. Sending stones, this one is extremely situational. It's cool that you can get an item at level 2 that replicates the effect of a 3rd level spell, so there's that. But I'd skip it unless you have a specific use for it, to be honest. The Wand of Magic Detection, I'd probably skip it. You get Detect Magic in your spell list already as it is. It's a ritual, so why waste the infusion on something that all it does is duplicate that? It doesn't make any sense to me. And the Wand of Secrets. This one can be helpful, but I'd probably pass on most occasions. There's just so many other great options that this one feels like a little bit of a waste. I mean, if you have nothing else really to spend your infusions on, I'd say go for it. But, And that does it for part 1 of the Infusions video for the Battlesmith guide. Stay tuned for part 2. And if you like this video, please click subscribe or like or whatever it is that you do. Or make a comment if you hate me. Put in the comments that you hate me. And I will love you back. All right. Thank you very much. This does it for this video. I'm your Innkeeper Vase Odin. And I will talk to you guys real soon.